So that's the social part. Then into shopping, and I'm going to use a TV show as an example. Did anybody watch this at Christmas? Oh, yeah, good. Okay, great. I think this is safer than someone else's. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Watched the show. It was great. I fell in love with Ben Whishaw's jacket. Loved it. I love green velvet. Need more of that in my wardrobe. Was worried about how to pull it off. Didn't know if I could actually do it. So, again, rather than going to Google in the traditional way and not getting, very personalized advice around, a question, could I pull off a green velvet jacket? I went to ChatGPT, literally threw in an image. It wasn't a particularly good one. It wasn't focused on Ben Whishaw, and said, I'm thinking about wearing this. I'm a bit anxious. I don't know if I'm stylish enough. Can you help me? Very quickly, it produced, this is just one example, it produced about 10 different variations, different seasonalities and scenarios and settings, different temperature gauges, giving me different ideas and advice about what I could wear. So essentially, I'm starting to get my own personalized stylist to help. I was then very mean and said, I don't like reading, I'm far too busy, make this easier, make it more visual. Then it starts creating images and producing lookbooks. Now, if I understand, it's been very kind. I'm not assuming, I don't believe that I look like this. Also, this is the old DALL-E version. You now have photorealistic images. So as of last week, I can upload an image, and it will produce this as though it was me, like the digital twins you saw from earlier. But I prefer the DALL-E ones. It makes me look better and younger, so I'm sticking with these. So it gives me a slight sense of how it might look. It brings it to life in more visual component ways. Then the most important part said, right, I'm sold. Where can I buy this from? And this is where it starts to list out different retailers, specific products with the links at different price points and budget. So this is already what's happening. The only thing that's missing is me giving it my credit card and saying, right, make the purchase. My budget is X amount. Buy it for me. Get it delivered on the weekend. I'm going out Saturday night. That's what's coming next. AI commerce is going to be the huge thing that hits this year. And most brands and businesses aren't ready for it because it will utterly change the whole way that people shop. And now we're starting to see this come through. Now, because the reality is retail websites aren't set up for this. It's still a drag and drop. It's a point-and-click solution. You have a website, you're in navigation, you click, main navigation, you get sub-navigation, you do filters. It's endless, particularly for things like grocery shopping. It's about 60 clicks to do a weekly shop. In the future, you won't click on anything. You'll just say, I'm a family of 4, have 2 kids, one of which doesn't eat broccoli, the other one refuses to eat fish. Put together, have a budget of £100, put together all of the ingredients for the week, including recipe cards and step-by-step instructions, because I'm not very good at cooking and I need some support. That will be the entire shopping journey. And we're already starting to see this come through with things like Amazon. So they have Rufus. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a little beta. You might have a little tag on your app already. So Rufus is kind of here, and you can ask questions. And it helps you shop. Now, it's a little feature. It seems almost gimmicky, but there's a huge reason for this on Amazon, because when you're making, we were talking about this earlier, when we're making small sales, when it's £10, the risk is so low it doesn't really matter. If you mess up and it's not quite right, it's not an issue. Amazon, though, becomes a very lonely place the second you're spending on a high-ticket item. If you're spending £300-400 on a TV, you want to make sure it's right. And suddenly not having an expert and not having anybody to actually ask or answer your questions means that you're far less likely to buy from Amazon than you are to a retailer or to go in store so you can talk to an actual person. What Amazon's doing is trying to get around this with Rufus. It's a personalized shopping assistant, so you can ask it really refined, personalized questions. When Amazon starts to show from its earnings reports that sales are going up because of Rufus, that will be the sort of the firing points for all other retailers to start addressing how does our web behavior change? How does our website have to be optimized for an AI future? So everyone's sort of waiting. Nobody wants to do it, but it's coming, and it's coming very, very soon. And as a result, you're going to see a lot of opportunities. There is value. It's going to be hard for brands, but there's huge opportunities, particularly in terms of insights. Most of the time, we talk about first-party data. So clicks, email, what you bought, time on site, bounce rates. What you move towards is zero-party data. So it's people's moods and motivations. It's sort of the subtleties of what you get. So that example I gave earlier around shopping, it starts to understand, well, it's a family of 4. He's got children. they want to be healthier, but there's some slight issues with it. They're not actually that confident with cooking. They need help in different ways. That starts to build a much better picture of me rather than just what did I put in my basket? Did I actually purchase? How often do I purchase? So this is the sorts of opportunities brands have in the future to understand their customers in a much more honest and human way through the use of AI. And as a result, it goes into things like total search. So the old days of just looking at Google, and that was complicated enough. We will miss those days because things are getting a lot more complicated. You have social search and the huge growth and importance of things like TikTok Shop. You have retail search. Over 50% of product-specific searches start on a retail website already. And then you have this explosion in AI and LLMs. And the fact is, these things aren't independent of each other. They coalesce. It's almost a flywheel. They have an impact. So total search and understanding how does your brand appear on these different environments and how do they interact is how you need to start thinking moving forwards. And you have things like share of model. So you can start to even just assess. A really useful case study is just to go on and sort of say for your category, you know, I want to buy a perfume this Christmas for my partner. What should I get? And then see which brands appear and which ones don't. So you can at least start to audit and understand where do you sit. And then you can start to assess what sort of steps might we be able to take in order to improve in time as this grows. So that's the shopping piece. Defining total search strategy, like I said, is going to be a really important one, empowering your performance and your search teams to be able to harness the power of AI. Auditing is really key before you know what you need to do next. Just understand the benchmark of where you currently sit. And then traffic referrals. Again, a little bit like AI personas. For some, you already see a lot of traffic coming from AI platforms like ChatGPT. For others, it might be very small. So it's something that you want to start preparing for, but the prioritization of how quickly you want to do it may adapt. So again, always look at your data to understand how quickly you need to action some of these things. But getting started even a little bit gives you far more momentum versus your competitors.